Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. They're funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. We finally have an update for the saga! Also, there's a post supposedly from the husband's perspective. Shout out to Wolfie for pointing this out to me. Update. I think my husband fathered his best friend's children. 1 month later. Happy Halloween, everyone! It's been a while. Things have continued to spiral. While I obviously still can't talk about much, I've shown this post to my legal counsel and had it approved as safe. So, the headline here is that Luke and Amy talked about themselves as half-siblings in the letters I found on Luke's laptop. Oh, I so called that! The timeline is still a bit unclear to me, but basically, Jim had an affair with one of his college students and she got pregnant. Years later, her daughter Amy became friends with Jim's son Luke. Amy was being hurt in her parents' house, and everyone in Luke's family wanted to get her out, which they eventually did. At that point, Jim told Luke and Amy the truth, and a couple of years later, they began to sleep together. As far as recent updates, Kaylee has spent some time in a psych ward. Tom discovered that she'd done something very reckless. Social services has also seen fit to remove her from Luke and Amy's care, so she's currently staying with Kat. Amy hated that, and raged that I would poison Kaylee against her. And in her anger, she made some choice threats. I've been advised to not reach out to Kaylee myself, but I did send her a message promising that she could always come to me about anything. I think that's more than alright. If she initiates, I will not turn her away. My troubles aren't over. They just got worse after the test results came back. Everyone was tested. I finally now know the truth, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Luke is the biological father to all 4 of Amy's children. After years of wondering, confirmation feels strangely hollow. It changes almost nothing at this point, but it is proof that he was unfaithful to me. Luke is still maintaining that it was an open relationship. I had thought to use the incest charges against him and Amy, but that plan hit a roadblock. The 2 of them had mandated testing as well, and according to the results, Luke and Amy are not siblings. I don't understand it either. I guess Jim was wrong all this time. Either way, I still have proof that they believed it to be true. But now they're insisting there was just a kind of roleplay for them. Luke also threw a curveball at me by demanding that we test my children as well. I honestly hated him for that. They've been through enough as it is. But he is now claiming that I also participated in the open relationship and that the paternity of our children will prove it. In particular, he was adamant that Sophie be tested. I couldn't figure out why, but I think Luke must know something that I don't because the test results for Sophie came back negative. They said that Luke isn't her father. Then Luke began to claim that he had tested Sophie years ago to be sure. I was certain he was lying, that he'd somehow sabotaged the test. But he did submit a DNA test from about 10 years ago, and it likewise maintains that Luke is not Sophie's father. And before anyone asks, no, I've never had an affair of my own. I've never cheated on Luke. I have no idea how this happened, and I couldn't make sense of it. I've requested another test that's yet to arrive, but with 2 tests already, I'm bewildered and a little bit frightened. I don't know how this is possible. Since I was never unfaithful to Luke, I can only assume that something was done without my consent. I've never been raped as far as I'm aware, but there were a few nights, back when I used to get drunk with Amy, that someone could have possibly drugged me. What really scares me is that Luke tested Sophie years ago. I feel like he knows more about this than he's letting on. I've talked to my therapist and lawyer about this, and I've tried to get to the bottom of it, but I just don't know. I've been upfront with everything with Sophie. I believe Luke is trying to make her doubt me, to drive a wedge between us. I've promised her that I've never had an affair, that these results are impossible. I don't think she believes me, not completely, but I also don't get the sense that she's angry with me, or that she feels betrayed. I think she would honestly prefer at this point if Luke was not her birth father. The rest of my kids don't know about this part yet, but they probably will soon. Gossip is spreading like wildfire among Amy's kids and my own. But without Sophie's blessing, I'm not going to tell them. She was the only one whose results came back negative. The rest of the kids are proven to be Luke's. I wish I could describe a happy ending for our family, but the trouble is far from over. I'm actually somewhat traumatized by the idea that I might have been raped and never known about it until now. And if that is indeed the case, I'm not looking forward to the conversation where Sophie finds out about her origins. Anyway, I don't know when I'll next update, but tonight I'm taking the kids to a haunted house, so that should be fun. Alright, so now onto the post supposedly from the husband's perspective. My wife, 42 female, has stopped taking her meds and thrown me out of the house. She started publicly accusing me of an incestuous affair with a friend that I am not related to. Hi, I'm Luke, 43 male, and I'm married to Liz, 42 female. We have 4 kids together, who I won't be naming or including the ages of, as I don't believe they need to be identified in the story. I will say, however, that they're all underage. A few months ago, my wife missed her antipsychotic medication, which she takes for a mental health condition. She was fine, at first, as she only missed it for one evening. However, she misinterpreted this as a sign that she wasn't as mentally ill as the doctor had said, and decided to stop taking her medication. I tried my best to reason with her. I spoke with doctors and her family. None of us could reason with her. It's had a major impact on our lives, with me having to leave the house, being accused of assault and battery, despite explaining to police officers that my wife has a history of mental illness and that she's stopped taking her medication. I'm currently staying with my mother. It's been a long few months. I've tried very hard to get the kids out of my wife's care. Unfortunately, I seem to be hitting all sorts of roadblocks in getting her some sort of treatment. Recently, I've been spending time with a family friend of ours, Amy, who's had similar experiences with a spouse who suffered mental illness and delusional tendencies, which sadly led him to ending his own life, leaving her and their 4 children to fend for themselves. She's just a friend, one that goes very far back. We've been friends since childhood, and our parents were friends for most of our lives. I don't want to bore you with an excessive amount of details, but my wife has begun to view this friendship as something more than a normal platonic relationship. She's accused me of having a lifelong affair with my friend, and accused me of fathering her children, telling me she has DNA evidence to prove it. She also assaulted Amy during a mental health episode. On top of all of this, she's been telling people that my late father, recently passed away due to a heart complication, had an affair with Amy's mother, and that we're half siblings committing incest. Most people in our community and friend circles know of a history with alcohol dependency and mental health, but there's a lot of people who seem to dismiss this fact, and have begun to create a hostile environment for myself, Amy, and her kids. I've tried everything, including having her involuntarily committed, but this couldn't be done because certain criteria hadn't been met in the eyes of the court, which I just can't believe. Maybe it's because she's not actually mentally ill, and you're her ex-husband trying to have her involuntarily committed. I'm guessing that might be a bit of a red flag to the court. But nothing seems to be working, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I'm afraid of the influence she's having over our 4 children. My own daughter won't answer my calls. I'm scared it'll get to the point where she'll lash out during her delusions and hurt the children, herself, me, or someone else. I keep trying though, because I care about my wife. God give me the strength to keep going on. Update. These posts are doing the rounds where I live, and people are believing them, hook, line, and sinker. Her posts are insane. Major stereotypical delusional plot twists, and completely imagine things that sound wildly out of touch with reality. I just want her to get help. I'm not trying to move back in. I just want to make sure she's safe, gets the help she needs, and to make sure the kids are safe. And down in the comments, the wife responded just saying, "Oh, what fresh hell is this?" I have no idea what to make of all this. Why did he make this post? Was it to convince people in his area that she's lying? If so, that's weird, because she's claiming he's spinning a completely different story about them having an open relationship. So, which is it? Maybe it's just to convince people on Reddit that she's nuts, but why would he care? Surely he has more to worry about right now. If you like this video, please let me know, and subscribe for more juicy tea.